Have you ever noticed the more available you become, the less appreciated you sometimes feel? You answer every call. You reply to every message. You rearrange your own plans to make someone else's life easier. At first, people thank you. Then, something quietly changes. They stop asking. They start expecting. And one day, you're no longer seen as generous. You're simply available. And somehow, respect begins disappearing. At first, I thought I was becoming a better person. Then I realized I was slowly teaching people how little they needed to respect my time. And Carl Jung helped me understand why that happens. At first, nothing feels wrong. In fact, it feels good. Someone needs a favor. You say yes. Someone calls late at night. You answer. Someone asks you to change your plans. You smile and make room. It almost feels like you're becoming the person everyone can count on. And honestly, that's a beautiful thing. Until one small question quietly appears. Who is making room for you? Because if you're always the one moving, eventually, people stop noticing that you moved at all. Have you ever noticed? The first time you help someone, they say, "Thank you so much." The 5th time, they smile. The 10th time, they assume you'll do it. That's one of the strangest things about human nature. What begins as gratitude can quietly become expectation. Not because people are always selfish, but because the human mind adapts surprisingly fast. Think about your favorite song. The first time you heard it, you couldn't stop smiling. Play it every single hour for a month, and eventually, you barely notice it's playing. Familiarity changes attention. Sometimes, it changes appreciation too. Let's be honest. If your phone thanked you every single time you charged it, you'd probably smile the first week. After a month, you'd expect it. Human beings adapt to good things remarkably quickly, sometimes a little too quickly. This is where Carl Jung helped me see something I had completely missed. He believed that much of what shapes our relationships happens below the surface of conscious awareness. In other words, people aren't always making a deliberate decision to respect you less. Sometimes, they're simply adapting to the version of you they've learned to expect. If every request receives a yes, eventually the yes stops feeling like generosity. It starts feeling normal. And here's the uncomfortable truth. We quietly teach people what they can expect from us, not only by what we say, but by what we repeatedly allow. But here's the mistake most people make. They think setting boundaries makes them less loving. What if it actually makes your kindness more valuable? Because not everything that is always available is always appreciated. Respect rarely disappears all at once. It fades, quietly, one small expectation at a time. First, people ask, "Would you mind helping me?" Later, they say, "You'll help me, right?" Eventually, they don't ask at all. They simply assume. That's the strange thing about always saying yes. The more predictable your sacrifice becomes, the less visible it starts to feel. Not because your kindness has less value, but because people stop seeing it as kindness. They begin seeing it as your normal. Let me ask you something. If every shop in your neighborhood suddenly gave away free bread every single morning, what would happen? The first week, people would be amazed. A month later, many would simply expect it. Then imagine one morning, the bread isn't there. Something fascinating happens. People don't remember the 30 mornings it was. They remember the one morning it wasn't. Human beings adapt incredibly fast. We even adapt to generosity. That's why appreciation needs awareness. Otherwise, even beautiful things slowly become invisible. Isn't that funny? Your internet works perfectly for 6 months, and nobody celebrates. It goes down for 10 minutes, and suddenly it's the biggest story in the house. That's not because people are ungrateful. It's because consistency quietly disappears into the background. I used to think respect came from giving more time, more energy, more patience, more of myself. But the older I became, the more I realized something surprising. Respect doesn't grow because people can always reach you. Respect grows when people understand that your time has value. Think about a beautiful public garden. It's open to everyone, but there are still paths, gates, opening hours, signs that quietly say, please help protect what's growing here. Nobody sees those boundaries as selfish. They understand they're what allow the garden to stay beautiful. But here's the mistake so many kind people make. They confuse disappointing someone with hurting someone, and those are not the same thing. Once I understood that, every relationship in my life began to change. Here's the part nobody told me. The hardest word isn't no. The hardest part is surviving the guilt that follows it. Because when you've spent years being the dependable one, saying no doesn't just feel unfamiliar, it feels wrong. Your mind immediately starts asking, am I being selfish? Did I disappoint them? Will they think I've changed? Isn't it amazing? We can cancel our own plans without feeling guilty. But the moment we disappoint someone else, suddenly we're putting ourselves on trial. For years, I thought kindness meant saying yes whenever I could. But over time, I noticed something. Every time I ignored my own limits, I became a little more tired, a little more frustrated, a little less present. And then one day, I realized something that completely changed the way I saw kindness. A person who never rests eventually has nothing left to give. Think about a well. You can draw water from it every single day. But if the rain never comes, eventually, even the deepest well runs dry. Rest isn't selfish. It's where generosity is renewed. You'd never expect your phone to last a week without charging it. Yet somehow, many of us expect ourselves to keep giving without ever plugging back in. Carl Jung believed that becoming whole meant living truthfully, not performing a role that slowly erased who you were. I think that's what healthy boundaries really are. They're not walls. They're not punishments. They're not ways of pushing people away. They're quiet acts of honesty. They say, I care about you, and I also need to care for myself. Those two things can exist together. In fact, the healthiest relationships are built on both, because love without respect becomes exhausting, and respect without love becomes distant. The goal is to protect both. And then I understood something I wish I'd learned years earlier. The people who truly respect you don't stop loving you because you have boundaries. They simply learn where the door is, and they knock. Something beautiful began happening. Once I stopped trying to be available every moment, not everyone stayed. And at first, that hurt. There were people who became quieter, people who stopped calling as often, a few who even seemed disappointed, but something else happened too. The people who truly cared adjusted. They asked before assuming. They appreciated instead of expecting. They respected the moments I couldn't give, because they had experienced the moments I could. That's when I realized boundaries don't reveal who loves you less. They often reveal who loves you with respect. I used to think being a good person meant saying yes whenever I could. Now, I think it means something different. It means giving honestly, instead of giving endlessly. Think about a lighthouse. It doesn't leave the shore, chasing every ship in the ocean. It stands where it belongs, steady, visible, reliable. Because of that, ships know exactly where to find it. Maybe that's what healthy kindness looks like. Not running after everyone, but standing firmly in who you are. So, why do they stop respecting you? Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they simply became comfortable with unlimited access to your time, your energy, and your heart. And comfort without awareness can quietly replace appreciation. But here's what I hope you remember after today. You don't have to become colder to be respected. You don't have to become harder to be valued. You don't have to stop loving people to start protecting your peace. Keep your kindness, keep your compassion, keep your generous heart. Just remember, even the most beautiful gardens have gates. Even the brightest lighthouses stay rooted. Even the strongest trees protect their roots beneath the ground. Nature has never confused openness with the absence of boundaries. Maybe neither should we, because the people who truly belong in your life won't resent the fact that you finally closed the door. They'll simply smile, knock, and wait for you to answer. Before you go, I'd love to ask you something. Was there a moment in your life when you realized you had been giving so much that people stopped appreciating it? Or was there someone who taught you that healthy boundaries can actually strengthen a relationship? Share your experience in the comments. Some of the most meaningful conversations in this community begin with stories like yours. And if this film reminded you that kindness and self-respect can exist together, I'd be honored to see you again in the next journey.